for that young man.
Welcome to Driven by Me and Disease, and we continue where we left. So, yeah, I could activate my NVIDIA lights. Okay. So, should I reiterate over what is going on, what I'm doing right now? I'm working on a game. Whoa, lighting. Now I just went back from a long walk, so I might have air sweat. So don't hear my music. So what I'm working on is a little game, and you are an elf with feline traits, humanoid and feline, and it's similar to The Borrowers, which is a book and a series and movie called The Borrower. It's from a book in British book in the 1950, and they are like small human living inside the gaps in the walls and floors, and I want to put the player inside this kind of survival where they hide in walls and floor and steal food. And I had some kind of idea that usually it would, if you think in the context of market, it would be a risk, but I don't see it as a risk. I think if you follow market, if you're afraid of the market, like this part would be like trying to fit into a target audience, and when you bring something that is not usual, you might not find the market audience you're looking for. So when this occurs, usually people will advise to do a game that has a specific target audience, but in my case I want to do things so different that I need to break the rules. I know the rules now, but I know which one I am willing to break in order to have joy in what I do and what I sell. So this aspect, which I haven't mentioned yet, I mentioned it yesterday. So it would be to make two games from the same online server. So it would be like I'm just gonna test the chat first. I've seen people connecting and quitting. So what I mean is, okay, it seems that YouTube is not there yet, and I have a chat now in but why is it down there? I don't know. So yeah, let's go back to what I was saying. It annoys me that YouTube is still always disconnected from Castle Labs. So what I mean is, there would be player who has the game, who buy the game as the elfly game, which is playing elves, and other player would buy the game from the human perspective, and it would be a different game, but they would both interact online on the same, and it wouldn't be told, it would not be told that the elves are player connected. So I thought about it today, elaborating over what the human would do while the elves hide and try to steal from them. And it wouldn't be like the main mechanic wouldn't be about trying to catch the elves. It won't be something arcade like. It would be more like Minecraft, but feel good and sometimes stressful like Minecraft. You have zombies, and it wouldn't be too much stylized. Like it would be some kind of in between realism and stylized. It wouldn't be too exaggerated, but at the same time it would have magic and some kind of useful magic, not too much in the clouds, like moving on object at distance, or creating things out of thin air, or like teleporting. And it would be like the elves, which have those capacities, levitating things like as such, and the human would need elf magic. But the two kind of player have a different kind of game. It's to market. If we see at the as a market, like to target might be interchangeable market, target audience. There could have people liking the elf game as much, and there could be people not liking one or the other, and just one type of the game. But it would be two different market study for each game, and so the human would do. It would be some kind of. So I thought about it today, and it would be, I need to do something that I would like to play, and I always think about doing a human that does its job, and in a more fun way. A bit like Stardew Valley. You are a farmer, but it would be like a village, and you could like go to you could connect to the game you play. You would be online, and then you go to the village and you could try a job there that is vacant, or go to another village if you like you like to be the mayor when you play. So if the place is taken in a village, you go to another one, and there would be like a limited amount of jobs, in the sense that like each village would have a mayor, a place for a mayor, a place for a baker, a place for a farmer, or multiple. If it's a multiple, there could be like even mayor's elections. A little bit like Stardew Valley. Now the job would be focused in the same style, like you would have something fun to interact with, and each job would be like fully thoroughly play tested with the players, and everyone interested in making it better. But I like playtest. I like to build the mechanics from the input of players that want to play. I don't have a specific mechanic, but I have the main structure of the game that would start like this. as the MVP, it would be like one of the job, like I thought about the name of the game and a job linking to it, and it would be the Keeper of Secret, because when you know this secret, which is that it's 2 games, but the 2 games share the same server, and the interaction of the 2 games are in the same world. That means one game is the elf, the other is the human. This is the secret, and so the game of elf would be Elfley, but the game of human would be the Keeper of Secrets, or Secret, the Keeper of Secret, something like that. So it, when you read it, you tell, is it's me, the Keeper of Secret, or is it someone else? And like I thought, like the first job we will do is like related to that. It could be like the mailing. How do we say in English? Need to find a translation. We say in French, facteur, mailing man. Country, no, not a factor, a factor, postman. So the first job could be the postman, and the first game bought by when you want to play human would be postman, and then we would grow from there. And the thing is, I think I have the idea of that you could unlock, like if you bought the human game, you could unlock and have the Elfley, but to unlock it you would need to finish the game and then ask for like you could like enter your email at the end to get the full extent, and which would be the 2 games in one. Like it wouldn't be locked in the computer so people don't hack it or put mods to hack it. It would be really another CD key they get from mail, and that they can enter in Steam or something like that. And it could be like now they can play both, and they just have to install the other game, and it would be like a different client. Maybe it will overwrite the other installation, and yeah, what else? I thought about in that context. It could be like a launcher. Now they have access to all the games, but that would be, I think I would do like that would give them, each time they finish a game, that would give them the CD key of the next game. And I have other idea to implement into this, like other games, which would be other character, other type of character, like in parallel universe, and they observe like the elves only, and this parallel universe would interact with the elves as like higher beings that help them or something. And it could be the same with humans, and then they could, by when they finish one game, they have access to the other. Then they finish this one, they have access to another. I want to play with things that usual games don't play with, and it's the structures outside the structure, the main structure, or what how a game is manufactured. And I think that's people forget to think that is thinking outside the box. The box is like, we make the game this way. Everyone see that it's selling, so everyone are afraid to go to see outside this box. And I think it's a risk, and if you see it as a marketer, because now you need to identify a kind of people that would like something that does not exist. And it's a risk, but for me it's a bit like I think I'm pretty sure it depends on many factors, how it is presented, the community around it. If the community roll with it and like the game, if the game is well done without bugs. So yeah, that's all what is to say in there. And I will continue right now on the subject, which is the tutorial right now, the PCG I'm doing. Let's continue. I will just give you a look for the newcomers. Monitor right. Let's give you some look. It's early stage of the game, like it's been like 1 week, so there is not much. 1 week or 2 weeks. I think that I thought about how will I handle the contributors, and I thought about anyone wanting to contribute. I would make a demonstration of their accomplishment on a website, and at the end, when we start getting revenue, I would like to make a voting inside within our group of who's has the best contribution, and then with the percentage of vote I would distribute the revenue of the game, of the title that is out, not the whole franchise. Like there will be I would need to do a contract to specify if people want. I don't want to go and now you don't have specification and there are conflict between. It happened to me with some guy I should have made a contract with, and at some point we realized we didn't understood each other. But yeah, I think it could occur that people want to just to help me because they like the game and they don't want to be paid. That would be cool, but I don't know. I wouldn't allow it. I would say like, no, you need some kind of percentage. Or I would give a gift in some kind of way. If I end up having enough. So what is it looks like for now, it's just the menu. I like it to squish. It squishes. So play, and there the current subject, which is this monstrosity. It's a procedural. Like, yep. We'll put that slide and
Many of you have been asking for a way to dynamically swap the meshes you're using in your building and have it also adjust dynamically to the size. So that way you can pipe whatever mesh you want.
sorry, guys. I just want a little break to pick some water. And I'm appearing to lag. I think I will stop my NVIDIA key light. Okay, so I will take a break just to get some water because my mouth is dry. Sorry for that. Where's the chat? Yeah, the chat is YouTube now working just before going on the break. Tasty. Okay, see you in a few minutes. Oh, and nice, the chat now in the break. Continue.
And no matter what it is, it will actually work from the get-go. And that's where we're going to be setting up today. But here's what you are going to get at the end: the ability to have a random modular pieces, and for it to be able to change the seed of it without changing the actual design of everything, and for it to update with the actual wall size. So right now, wall size 400, if we can set it to 500, 600, 200, it doesn't matter what you set it to, it automatically updates. And we can change the same thing with the height. We can make it smaller, or you can take it much taller, and it will all automatically scale and fit appropriately. So let's get right into it, and let me show you how to set this all up. In order for us to actually use the varying sizes of our meshes and get that information,
yeah, if you want the video,
as well as to really dynamically
it's
swap the
procedural
building pieces that we're
minds.
using, we need to use something that was introduced in 5.4, data assets. Now, data assets themselves are not new in 5.4, but for PCG they are. So let's go ahead and set one up and start implementing the actual information from your static meshes to be used to actually control that wall. So to begin, I'm going to make myself just a new folder just to have everything kind of grouped in there. That's going to be part of the data assets section. In here, the first thing we're going to do is get ourselves a structure. Right click, search for structure or struct, grab ourselves a structure.
Data assets.
I'm going to call it F. What I do is everything kind of grouped in there. That's going to be part of the data assets section.
Data asset PCG. Sorry. New folder, data assets, I get with the S, and then
here the first thing we're going to do is get ourselves a structure. Right click, search for structure or struct, grab ourselves a structure. I'm going to call it S_building components. Let's go open it up. And by default, this will look like this for you. I have my default values preferably on the right side. So this tab here, default values, I'll grab it and just spin it right here on the right so I can see the actual variables and the default values all in one go. This is much more preferred for me. So we're going to need
what was
components.
Building components. I like that when I pick another window and I was renaming a file in Unreal, it doesn't rename it when I quit and click the other to click Chrome, and it doesn't close the renaming. I can still rename.
Let's go open it up. And by default, this will look like this for you. I have my default values preferably on the right side. So this tab here, default values, I'll grab it and just spin it right here on the right so I can see the actual variables and the default values all in one go. This is much more preferred for me. So we're going to need a few actual things. We're going to need to know what the mesh is. So let's go ahead and name the first variable mesh. It's going to be of type static mesh object reference. And then we'll add two more just right away. The first one will be
two more. Static mesh. Static mesh, and it's an object, and he added two more. Okay, there.
Be weight, and it's going to be of a type.
Wait. No way. Of type integer.
Type float. And this is just to say
Float.
if we want one of the meshes to appear more often than the others. And another one I'm going to add now because we're going to be using it, and this is open back. And this
Open back.
It's going to be a bool. Open back.
No. I don't know if it's because he's in Unreal or what, but usually a boolean, it's preferable that you name, not preferable, it depends on your naming convention, but usually I prefer when it's named like is open back is something that will it's easier when you read it later on than just naming it like other variable, because it's true, either true or false. So is something true or false? So it's R is like starting the boolean that way is the best, but it's Unreal and it's your naming convention, but yeah, it's easier when you read it. It's a suggestion. So I will name it is open back.
Basically,
and maybe open back doesn't mean much. Let's see what he says.
I'm referring to meshes that don't have something on both sides. So a lot of the Megascan's walls and windows don't have a back piece, and so in order.
Oh, okay. It's like a one-sided rather. I will rename this one-sided. I would understand myself better. Yeah, and it's like a perspective of a 3D model. I would name this one-sided, and we might not have the same lexicon for, and I feel like he went with what he thought, because we don't have the same background. So
to have it, for example, close that off, I want to say yes, this needs a back piece, or no, this does not. So you can actually use meshes that have him and don't. Now in the default values, we can leave everything default except the weight. I would like to have the weight be a default of a 1.0, so that way it is actually appearing. But that is all we actually need in here. The next thing we're going to need is a primary data asset, which is kind of the base that holds the variables and the functions that are used in the data asset. We're going to right click and grab ourselves a blueprint class, and under all
I wonder why I picked it as struct. Maybe it's the best way to use this. Struct in C++. It's a good way to put in together many things, many information, but short information. Probably later on there would be many things in there. Because it's, if you want to do like data oriented programming, and you want in game, if you want to optimize it, you would put like anything that gets into the memory, the RAM, you would likely put them into one big struct or something, because now when the information is fetched from the memory into the CPU, it has its place in memory, like if you put everything in a struct. Everything that is closely related, when the CPU do calculation, you put them in struct. That way it doesn't do cache miss. So cache miss is that the CPU has caches L1, L2 and L3, and might, depending on the architecture, but usually right now it's L1, L2, L3, and smaller, like L1 is fast but has a smaller size. L2 is a bit slower but the bigger size, L3. And what are those caches is that when they read the memory, they put a chunk of it in the caches, so they don't have to, the CPU doesn't have to go always to the RAM. It can pick and choose in the L caches, and this, what is put in the L caches, change if the CPU start going elsewhere in memory. And when you don't put in a struct and or similar information close by, like information that would be read closely together in the RAM, and everything is like lists, and you put everything in lists and everything at many pointer, anything nothing in struct, and everything is here and there using pointers, and you end up having many things spread across the memory, not close by together. So it always change the L caches, and it does many cache misses. So a struct is good for that, to put many different type of variable into one chunk of memory, and especially if the CPU, when the CPU is running like a code that use all those variable in the same place, then it can, instead of always going to the memory, the RAM, it goes into the L caches and doesn't change the L caches much, so it goes faster.
Classes here. You want to search for primary data asset, and that's what we want right here. Select. I'm gonna call this PDA for primary data.
Let's do this. What?
Data assets underscore and grab ourselves a blueprint class.
Oh, that's what I thought. Blueprint class.
And under all classes here, you want to search for primary data asset, and that's what we want right here. Select. I'm gonna call this PDA for primary data asset underscore modular building. Let's go ahead, open it up. Now this. Call this PDA for primary data asset underscore modular building.
PDA underscore modular building. The thing is that struct, in the case of if you bake your PCG, you don't really care that it's optimized, because it's not the player that will bake. But if you want the player to bake the PCG, then you need to optimize. But if you do something like you will need the player to bake the PCG if you do. Except if you end up baking it at the end, like you use it as a developer tool to create your cities or houses. But if you use it so the player like can travel endlessly, you would need your PCG to be baked from the player unit, from the player perspective, a computer.
Let's go ahead, open it up. Now this will look very much like an actual regular blueprint menu or like the PCG menu, but of course it doesn't have a viewport. It only has an event graph, no construction script. That is all we need. Really, we just need the variables in this case. So add a new variable. So we're gonna need a few
Which was
it doesn't have. Look, you want to search for data
open
assets
the
underscore
PD.
modular building. Let's go ahead and open it up. Now this will look very much like an actual regular blueprint menu or like the PCG menu, but of course it doesn't have a viewport. It only has an event graph, no construction script. That is all we need. Really, we just need the variables in this case. So add a new variable. So we're going to need a few of them, starting with the regular walls, and the type is going to be of our struct. So I'm going to call it S underscore building components, and we want it to be exposed. So go ahead and hit the I icon.
S building component. S building component. The I control shift S.
And it also needs to be an array. So right click on this S building components and it'll convert it to an array. And now we need a few other things. So this is the regular walls. We also have the unique walls that appear every second, third, fourth floor, etc. that we have in our system. So we want the detail walls. We'll make a new variable. I'll call the next one detail walls. Also, we want it exposed, and one more, and this is going to be for our floor and also exposed. That way we can populate the meshes for all of these in one go, and they're all going to be exposed, and we can always add.
What I don't like in Unreal Blueprint is that it always start every variable as private. It should it's not private, so it's as if you tell any developer you can pick and choose whatever you want by default, and this leads to spaghetti code. So the thing is, I don't want to click private because I don't know what use this guy will have, so I guess I will leave it. I think I really don't like this, and I have like modules in I downloaded like the UI system that I downloaded from the other YouTuber as the same thing. I think there are I've seen some not private thing, and I would need to go back and check them, but it might be like too much control over it. Since I'm alone, it's not
more
important.
As we continue on. For now, that's all we need here. So now I can go ahead and create the data asset by right-clicking and search for data asset, and go ahead and select it under miscellaneous here, and we want it created based on the PDA modular building. So I'll search for PDA underscore modular building, and here it is. This can be the actual version of this asset. So I'll call DA for
PDA. DA underscore
data asset underscore regular building. And you can actually customize this now to your heart's content. So if we open this, you can see we now have regular walls, detail walls, a floor, and we can add pieces into the array. You saw I have to add something for something to appear here. If you want to, you can come in here, press the plus button so you can have a default in here and populate the defaults. This now to your heart's content. So if we open this, you can see we now have regular walls, detail walls, a floor, and we can add pieces into the array. You saw I have to add something for something to appear here. If you want to, you can come in here, press the plus button so you can have a default in here and populate the defaults if you would like. I'm not going to do that in my case. I'll leave it all in blank, but you can do that. So by default, it'll have something where you can start from. So let me go ahead and populate the regular walls. And for this, we're going to be using the windows from Megascans. I'm going to use a basic.
What will I use? Yeah, Don't I have something in there? Maybe just I will just search wall and let's go with that.
Window type. The detail windows, I'm going to grab a different one, maybe with a balcony. We can actually grab two variations here. So we'll grab ourselves a second one.
Okay, here you put like variation. Okay, I understand. So that's fine. I would need to look at my walls, what they look like. So sorry for interruption. That's a cheap wall. That's a rack. It's not a wall. Damn. Looking good. Fancy. I think that's a regular regular wall. Would put it in. What else? Yeah, now I know how to make many different type of building. There's a little art in the wall, in the door. I want more wall. Okay, this is a variation of the same. Where is my next wall 3? It goes in this one. All 4. Wally. Wally. 4. Okay, and the variations, details. It's door. That's not convenient. Wall gate. I want windows. Roll round roof. Oh no. Oh no. Thank you. To not crash in my face. Like spitting in the face. See, in French Canadian, crash. Crash. Crasha. Okay, it's really bug. There you go, it's not bug anymore. Standalone toolkit, what is that? Support, no. Window, yes. That would be the detail. I closed it like a crazy closer. Crazy closer. Subgraph, data asset. Which one was? It was DA. DA. Tell me if you're tired of this music. I will do like new list with you. There you go. There you go. Let's make some variation. Go fetch this one. Put it in there. Next. Go fetch this one. Put it in there. Wheel. Wood. Suitcase. Plank. Broken. So no more walls. Gate. No more walls for variation. Wood fence. Windows plan. Window plank. Okay, no more walls. Okay.
One answer for window, and this is going to be the one with the top here, the top detail, and the floor is technically a roof, but that's okay. I'll grab ourselves a roof piece, and there we go. Now the other thing we want to do is
a roof. The floor is technically a roof. The roof is on fire. Wall roof. Do I have a knitting roof in my oof? Oof. Roof. I need something flat. The roof is on fire. Oh no, I need a floor. Is there something like there's something like ceiling? No floor? Static mesh floor. Yeah, we have the old floor. Let's patch this inside the DA. Oh no. It's grayed out. Don't disappear like that. Now where's my closet again? Data, regular building, floor. Which one was the first one? 03 3M0. So this one is missing. I will add it there. There you go.
Check this on for all of these. Technically, they're all open back pieces. None of them have
Not in my case, so I
a
don't have.
two-sided full mesh. So I'll go ahead and just check it on.
He said two-sided. We should have named it is one-sided.
Everything, and that is going to be our kind of baseline here. So now let's go into the PCG and start actually incorporating this and swapping out and gathering all the information, scaling in everything else we need to do with it. So we'll start with the walls. Basically, we need to get the information from our actual data asset and then populate everything.
Well, where is it? It's in the blueprint. This is PCG blueprint. Basic house blueprint? No. It's in the basic house PCG. PCG. I didn't name it. It's not the name he gave me. You rename them. Walls and below transform for loot floor. Yes, this one. Delete, and he's putting this offset maximum. Yes, that's the one. And he called it floor ceiling. C floor slash C links. Oops. It's horrible. I wrote K instead of L, 7 instead of slash. Okay.
Everything else inside of it. So we'll start with this mesh one. If you're worried about, oh no, I don't have everything else here, is this going to be okay? Yeah, you could absolutely use this for your own setup with the data assets and everything. Don't worry. You just need to incorporate this part within your own system, and it's all going to be just fine. So for the time being, I'll go ahead and detach the static mesh spawner. And you can see our detail wall has disappeared here. We only have the regular walls left. And I'm going to need a few different things for this. And we want to scale it in actually all three axes. We want to scale in the height, the width, and the depth. So I'm going to grab all three of those variables first and get those ready for me. So if you come here, we have the wall height and the wall size. I'm going to duplicate those over to get accurate properties. And we'll
That's very annoying that I cannot rename wall size. Or I should name it like the fastest possible, because It's getting everywhere. And it will be hard. Can I rename? No. Can I? What? I lost my comment there. Where is it? To do. Why? How did I lose this? I don't understand. I don't understand how did I lose this comment. To do, and it would be floor attribute, create floor at. Maybe the guy would go over it anyway, so I want to rename his variables right now. I will put back the mesh here while I'm at it, just to see if it changed. It means something's wrong. We'll save. I think I will do a commit in case everything goes wrong. This is the moment to do a commit. Because now I will rename and it can go really bad. Like everything stop working. Prepping for custom random wall and floors. Commit all. Push. Push. Diex. Came to visit. That's too cool. Do this. What happened to my song? What happened to the music in my head? What happened to my music? Okay, the music was like empty or something. Oh, maybe my OBS is crashed. Yeah, OBS is a bit out of sync. Properties, no. Music. Missing or what? Okay, I see it. You should ear hit that, but I don't ear it. Music off. Monitor and output only. Monitor and output. Close. Yeah, I can't hear the music anymore. That's annoying. That's annoying. Advance. Oh, I cannot do much about it. Except maybe stop the live stream right now and start it later. Alligator. I might do this, that way I have 2 video in one. Yeah. To be a bit too much silent for me. I could listen to a couple of music you won't hear. I will lock the desktop audio, the Chrome audio. Okay, let's go. I will go on Pixabay. Pixabay music. Royalty-free music. Just for me. What do I want? No copyright music. So don't pick the little tongue out. Want something like fantastical. Fantasy. Let's remove music. Doesn't mean anything in the music site. Fantasy. And now I will play some music for myself and download them, the one I like, for you. Oh, even my... What? Oh, I muted my computer with a shortcut on my keyboard. Damn. Maybe I will make you hear the music. and close this one, make you hear the music.
Here, I'll duplicate it over. If you don't recall how to get these, you can right click, search for get actor property, and place your variable in here. And these are the same variables that we have exposed here in the blueprint. Now, aside from this, we actually need to have access to our data assets. Let's go ahead and set that up. Up top, if you go to graph settings and then to parameters here on the right under instant, the height, the width, and the depth. So I'm going to grab all three of those variables first and get those ready for me. So if we come here, we have the wall height and the wall size, and go ahead and duplicate those over to get.
Yeah, I don't understand why you use now the width, the height, but not with the size. What does he mean by size? Why did he change from? Maybe he has reasons. So I will keep it. I don't know. Maybe I would just check if which one you use for the width.
Actor properties, and we also have the wall thickness here. I'll duplicate it over. If you don't recall how to get these, you can right click, search for get actor property, and place your variable in here. And these are the same variables that we have exposed here in the blueprint. Now, aside from this, we actually need to have access to our data asset. Let's go ahead and set that up. Up top, if you go to graph settings and then to parameters here on the right under instance, hit the plus button, we can add a new property. I'll go ahead and rename this to data asset. So the name's not very.
Is it me or is sound like does have some pops on the right here?
Important in terms of what it is. Well, what is important is to change the type. So from float, I'm going to click here and search for PDA modular building and select object reference. And now it changes the type, and I under the drop down here under from it. So I'm going to get propertify. So right now I modify the detail PDA. We didn't put a space here. I'm going to change property name right here to detail wall. What we're doing with this is we're grabbing, you can grab also regular, grab our points, and we want to match, and we'll add them.
Okay, I think that why the reason why he doesn't call it width is that when you move the size instead of the width, you move it looking at the building when it's all done in one shot, in one block, instead of individual walls.
Mesh points that we had before. So we just want to export points. From here, I'm just gonna, how do we calculate this scale min? Being in mesh here, stays there, which is a little more convenient.
Height, size, so the width, as I thought. But why does he change it? Why does he call it size? Because it's a building at the end. And this would be like, it becomes like the floor height. I think so. I might not need to change it so much if that might be why. It might be confusing to have wall width instead of wall size, because now it's the whole building. Well, I won't rename them.
Within your own system, and it's all going to be just fine. So for the time being, I'll go ahead and detach the static mesh spawner, and you can see our.
Wait a minute, I want to put the music in my music. OBS music. OBS music. Where is it? OBS music. Pixel Bay. Live music. Do I put it in the folder here? Yes, I think yes. So let's listen another one that is free.
Detail wall has disappeared here. We only have the regular walls left. And I'm going to need a few different...
Okay, I closed it. Oh, I lost the comment. Again. What? Unreal is weird. Wow. Floors and ceiling.
You just need to incorporate this part within your own system, and it's all going to be just fine. So for the time being, I'll go ahead and detach the static mesh spawner. And you can see our detail wall has disappeared here. We only have the regular walls left. And I'm going to need a few different things for this. And we want to scale it in actually all three axes. We want to scale in the height, the width, and the depth. So I'm going to grab all three of those variables first and get those ready for me. So if you come here, we have the wall height and the wall size.
Okay, first thing first, I want to know why it why my comment disappeared. Why did my comment disappeared? I will create my comment back. Do real fast, and then pick my color, save, and then close it. I will close everything, reopen. Where is it? Let's see now. PCG basic house. Yeah, the comment disappear. What's wrong with you, Unreal? That's why they suggest not to use it, maybe. Wow. And the changes. Wow. It's as if I modified it, but not. Okay, so I will copy what he says then. And it's wall size and wall height. I will add the comment, maybe that's why. Because I didn't modify anything else. Floor ceilings and below to do to do and do the custom floor sizes. Even though he will go over this probably. And then font size. Doggy is yapping again and again and again. Just a little tap for Doggy. He got scared from the little tap.
And go ahead and duplicate those over to get actor properties. And we also
For Doggy. Rename these walls. Generate walls. I'm scared that now it won't save this because yeah, what's wrong with you, Unreal? It's a bit cold in my room right now.
have the wall thickness here. I'll duplicate it over. If you don't recall how to get these, you
Wall thickness, yeah, I would move this now because that's annoying. Wall thickness, where are you? There you go. There you go. For loops, okay, he's up there. With the mesh, you remove the mesh.
can right click, search for get actor property, and place your variable in here. And these are the same variables that we have exposed here in the blueprint. Now, aside from this, we actually need to have access to our data asset. Let's go.
What?
These, and we also have the wall thickness here. And place your variable in here. How to get these, you can right click, search for get actor property, and place your variable in here. And these are the same variables that we have exposed here in the blueprint. Now, aside from this, we actually need to have access to our data asset. Let's go ahead and set that up. Up top, if you go to graph settings and then to parameters here on the right under instance, hit the plus button, we can add a new property. I'll go ahead and rename this to data assets. Though the name's not very important in terms of what it is. Well, what is important is to change the type. So from float, I'm going to click here and search for PDA modular building and select object reference. And now it changes the type. And under the drop down here under none, I can select my DA regular building. Excellent. That'll be our default here. Next up, we just need to get the information from it. So I'll right click, get data asset. That gets us our data asset, but now we need to get all the information from it. So I'm going to get property from object path. Now, the way this works
from object path
is it gets only this property you specify. So right now, I'm going to be actually modifying the detail walls, right? So we want to actually just modify the detail wall section. And if we go under data asset, you can see it's under detail walls here. Now recall, in the actual PDA, we didn't put a space here. It's just detail walls like this. So in fact, I'm just gonna copy this to make sure I don't make any spelling mistakes. And I'm gonna change property name right here to detail walls and press enter. And you can see it is now actually just fine. The error has gone away. So effectively what we're grab multiple, we can, of course, we can grab also regular walls, floor, etc., but we just need the actual detail walls for this section here. So now we can grab our points and we want to match and set attributes, which will take the attributes from our data asset and we'll add them to the actual mesh point PCG building here. I can see that here based on the asset and we'll add them to the actual mesh points that we had before. I can see here based and actually scale it accordingly. And for that, we're going to need a loop because we need to go and I'll create a new PCG graph, etc. But we just need the actual detail walls for that. It is now actually just fine. The error has gone away. So effectively what we're actual PDA, we didn't put a space here. It's just detail walls like this. So in fact, I'm just going to copy this to make sure I don't make any spelling.
Just minute. Peanut butter. Minute. Detail wall. This one. And he wants the PDA modular building. Wants the parent class. And it's detail walls. Rename. Copy. There's many things like that in blueprints, like when you deal with Blackboard and in AI and things like that, you need to copy and paste. They should correct this. So I still have an error, guys. No property found to extract. Failed to extract object. Why? Is it because it's not the right thingy? Or the data set got lost in translation? But still it's not the output attribute property name where it is.
Mistakes, and I'm going to change property name right here
Okay,
to
that's
detail
why.
walls and press enter. And you can see it is now actually just fine. The error has gone away. So effectively what we're doing with this is we're grabbing just this section of the data asset. If we want to grab multiple, we can, of course. We can grab also regular walls, floor, etc. But we just need the actual detail walls for this section here. So now we can grab our points and we want to match and set attributes, which will take the attributes from our data asset and we'll add them to the actual mesh points that we had before. If I go ahead and select it and press A, and I can go in the bottom left corner and select our PCG building here, I can see here all the way on the right, we have our mesh, we have their weight, and we have open back, and it's all being set here based on the input, which is great. This is exactly what we want. But now we need to go through every single point and actually scale it accordingly. And for that, we're going to need a loop because we need to go through every single point and check it against the information we have. So I'm going to go ahead and go into our loops folder.
Just going to clean this up there and go to the loop folders.
I'll create a new PCG graph. This is going to be my PCG scale mesh to size.
PCG scale mesh to size. Double click, Control Shift S. Now, before going further, I want to see if it's saved because now we did a lot of stuff there. I want to copy a lot of stuff. Oops. Copy. Save. I want to duplicate the blueprint. Duplicate. And now I want to quit and reopen it. Okay. Next. Let's open this. Look at the oh, it worked. We can delete the duplicate. So when you only comment, it seems that Unreal doesn't keep the information. You need to modify something in the blueprint. Wow, epic. What is that? I don't want to be mean, but so how was this music? It's fine. Let's play another music. Okay. So let's go back to this.
Just go ahead and click and drag it in.
Just going to grab it. And I would loop, of course.
Right on top, and just select create loop node. Now it doesn't have any inputs or outputs. That's fine. We can open it and get some, but really that's not enough. So we're gonna double click on this node and we can open it up, and now we can set up the actual loop. So if I open up the input and output, we're going to change some stuff. Let's start with the output first because it's a simpler one. For the output, in allowed types, we just want to export points. Everything else is honestly fine. We can even keep it on out if we'd like to. And for our input, we want to also change the allowed types to be points as our first one, but we want to actually change the usage to be a loop because we want a loop on every single one of these points. Then we actually need 3 input.
What? What? Okay.
So we'll add 3 pins, and I'll go ahead and open them up. Now, our points, I'm going to change the name of it to be points for a label. The label for the first section will be the width. Second one will be the height, and the last one will be depth. And for each one of these, instead of allowed types any, we want allowed types attribute set for all of these. And under pin
Attributes set, attributes set, attributes set. The first one is the loop. It's point. Control S.
pin status, instead of normal, I'm going to say required for all of these.
Pin status. Status required. 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 Okay.
Because I want to make sure that we have something plugged in into all of these for it to work. Set them all to required, and there we go. So already in our regular PCG blueprint here, you could see we have this input. So we can actually plug in our stuff right now. We'll drag these.
Oh, yes. No one in the chat.
Over our wall
So
size is our width, our wall height is our height, our wall thickness is our depth, and we want to plug in the out points for match and set attributes into here, but we need something in before this.
okay. Need something before.
From here, I'm just going to scoosh this over a little bit. And out of this out node, I'm going to search for attribute partition, and I'm going to open it up. Normally, we want to partition it by index, but in this case, we want to partition it by mesh, which is basically every unique mesh should get their own version of this. Search for mesh, press enter, because we want to scale all the meshes that are the same uniformly. We don't need to check every single point. We just really need to check every single point that's a different mesh. And we want to plug in the out points for match and set attributes into here, but we need something in before this. From here, I'm just going to scoosh this over a little bit. And out of this out node, I'm going to search for attribute partition, and I'm going to open it up. Normally, we want to partition it by index, but in this case, we want to partition it by mesh, which is basically every unique mesh should get their own version of this. Search for mesh, press enter, because we want to scale all the meshes that are the same uniformly. We don't need to check every single point. We just really need to check every single point that's a different mesh. So by piping in mesh here, we can split it up and then plug this out point into our points node.
Is it me or the sound is popping? Another sound.
Now, if I close this, you'll see the out actually disappears. For pin status, by default here is advanced. We'll just go. So by piping in mesh here, we can split it up and then plug this out point into our points node. Now, if I close this, you'll see the out actually disappears. For pin status, by default here is advanced.
Where is he? 7 element, 1 array, 7th member, index 0. Out. Okay, he's in out. Advance. Out. Settings, pin 1. Out. Advance.
We'll just go change it to normal. And now if I open or close this, this out just stays there, which is a little more convenient. So now let's go ahead and actually start setting this up. Effectively, we can go through every single mesh, check the balance of that mesh, and compare it to the size we have set up. Because if, for example, the mesh is 100 units wide and we want it to be 300, well, we want to scale it effectively 3 times in that axis. And same thing for all of the axes. So really, whatever we do here, it's all going to go through a transform points node. And we're going to be modifying the scale min and max basically of it. And the output is just going to be outputted all the way to the end. Now, the scale min and max is all going to be the same. It's going to be based off a vector. So I'm going to drag out of a scale min and search for make vector attribute. And form points node. And we're going to be modifying the scale min and max basically of it. And the output is just going to be outputted all the way to the end. Now, the scale min and max is all going to be the same. It's going to be based off a vector. So I'm going to drag out of a scale min and search for make vector attribute. And the output type, we'll go ahead and set it to be vector3. It'll plug it into both scale min and max. And we can go ahead and just close this up. This is going to be our main input for all our calculations. So let's start with the first one, the width. The way it kind of works is we take our width that we have inputted and divide it by whatever the width of the actual mesh is. And that will be the X, right? That is the width of it. But how do we calculate this in B? All we need to do is grab our points and then search for get attributes from point index. Now be careful not to get the set from index. You want to from point index, grab that. And the input source, instead of last, we want it to be our mesh, because that's what the information we want to get. You don't need to set output attribute name. All of this is fine. Drag out of attribute and search for point from mesh. I'm gonna grab this one right here. And instead of overrides, open it up and plug it into static mesh. So what this does is it converts our mesh, our static mesh, into point information that we can now break apart and read. So what we could do is actually get the bounds information. So by using the get attribute from point index again.
Nope. Nope. So attribute point from mesh. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and I'll just duplicate it over and plug it in like so, and I'll duplicate it a second time. Now start showing a warning because it's doesn't find mesh, but we don't want mesh now. We want bounds max for the top and bounds minimum for the bottom. Go ahead and select it.
Bound max and minimum.
Just from the drop down, after hitting the plus button there. And now we've gone the bounds of our mesh. Now our mesh bounds are actually a vector. So we have 3 axes. Search for break vector attribute. And you want to plug that into both of these here from the attributes, not from the point. And now to find out the actual size of this mesh, because we just have the bounds, we just go ahead and subtract the large from the small. So drag out X, search for subtract, and we subtract X from X. And we want to do the same thing for Y and the same thing for Z. So now we have something in all 3 axes that's calculating. Now, if you're unfamiliar with bounds are, it's basically the bounding box that encompasses your mesh. And the bounds minimum is just the smallest of the 3 points in the one of the corners, and the positive is the one that has the highest number in all 3 axes. That is the max. Now, this could be a negative value, depending on we subtract X from X. And we want to do the same thing for Y and the same thing for Z. So now we have something in all 3 axes that's calculating. Now, if you're unfamiliar with bounds are, it's basically the bounding box that encompasses your mesh. And the bounds minimum is just the smallest of the 3 points in the one of the corners, and the positive is the one that has the highest number in all three axes. That is the max. Now, this could be a negative value. Depending on how the mesh is set up, it could be negative. So I'm going to drag out and search for ABS for absolute, which will convert any negative numbers to a positive number. So that's perfect for us. That way we don't have any issues. And now we can grab this absolute value and plug it into B for X. And we need to do the same thing for the other three.
It's really cold. Divide. Here it is. The great divide. In B. And now, as he said, my mind is clean. Not too so he wants to copy this for the tree.
Axes. So I'll plug in the absolute for the second one into B and duplicate again and plug in the last one into B, and this goes into Y and this goes into Z. For input A for the middle one, that is going to be our Y axis. So in our case, that is actually our depth, and the Z is.
So this one is the depth. This is actually depth. I would just make it cleaner.
Is the height. So I'll grab the height and plug that all the way through. Now I don't like the fact.
Me neither. I don't like the fact that the other one. So I guess you will switch them.
The fact that these kind of are in the wrong order here, so I'll just grab index 2 and move it down below index.
I will take a break, maybe. Not just a break, like close the. Can we close the current video, make a new one later? So I have two video in my day. So yeah. He has to rearrange them the other way. Outside the where it's called.
Index 3, so it's just a little bit cleaner, and I'll add a few reroute nodes here to clean up this.
Oh, he did the same thing as
me. Now
me.
we go ahead and actually scale this.
I thought like, oh, he's not steady like me. He will not might not do this like I did. Just to show you. I don't like that this one is. Usually you can avoid this by sharing those, either sharing or putting them in local variable and using them there. It's less, except sometimes it's confusing to go what it is. So you can make them local. I think since it's PCG, might not be able to. Okay, I will take this break and do another video, just so I have 2 videos in my life, in my day. I think it triggers the algorithm on YouTube, because now no view, and it's I see my view count getting up if I do multiple videos. We'll take a break and come back with a new one. So thank you for watching. See you in a few minutes, maybe an hour.